is U.S. District Judge Paul A. Engelmeyer. You want to know who's blocking the Epstein files from being released? This guy right here. I just want to know why, for 4 years, when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in the White House, not one of you, not one, were like, release the Epstein files. So this judge, who was appointed in 2011 by Barack Obama, is the one that is denying the release of the grand jury testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell, and not one of you were saying anything about it. You didn't say anything about it before either, when Senator Dick Durbin, a Democrat, blocked Marsha Blackburn from releasing the Epstein files. And that was during the Biden presidency, and not one of you was like, release the list. Not one of you. Anyways, Newsmax just dropped this story, like now. Transcripts of the secret grand jury testimony that led to the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, won't be released, a judge decided today. U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmeyer said in a written ruling that the government had suggested that the materials could be released publicly, casually, or promiscuously, which would risk unraveling the foundations of secrecy upon which the grand jury is premised and eroding confidence by people called to testify before future grand juries. You know what? Redact the names and say these are being redacted because these are the names of the grand jury, the secret grand jury. And what are you guys taking after, like Shrek or something? Better late than ever, I always said. No, not one of you said anything for years. Federal prosecutors had asked to unseal the documents in an effort to calm suspicion about what the government knows about Epstein, a well-connected financier who died behind bars awaiting trial on those types of charges. Maxwell was later convicted of helping him prey on underage girls. Prosecutors have said much of what was discussed behind grand jury's closed doors ultimately became public at Maxwell's 2021 trial in victim civil lawsuits or public statements from victims, the witnesses, and the only grand jury witnesses were law enforcement officers. And in this part right here, I just wanted you to pay special close attention. Epstein had already served jail time and registered as a SO after pleading guilty to Florida prostitution offenses in 2008 deal that would let him avoid federal charges at the time. President Donald Trump later raised questions about Epstein's death. The president told Attorney General Pam Bondi to ask courts to unseal the grand jury transcripts, but you see, Judge Engelmeyer said no. I wonder why. It's not like the most outspoken of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, Virginia Giuffre, is here to talk about it because she was unalived, supposedly by herself via truck. Yeah, ain't that something? But what I love most about Virginia Giuffre, even though she had to endure such horrors with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, she vehemently denied that President Trump had anything to do with the misdoings of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Anybody trying to martyrize Ghislaine Maxwell at this point is absolutely and utterly abhorrent, just so you know. She absolutely partook, and she helped him get victims. And Virginia Giuffre absolutely was loud and proud that President Trump was anti-Epstein. She often talked about President Trump banning him from Mar-a-Lago when Jeffrey Epstein was there recruiting the club members' daughters, underage daughters, by the way. She was absolutely vocal and loud and an avid Trump supporter, actually. So, if one of the top Epstein survivors, because I'm not going to call them victims at this point, one of the top survivors that had to endure the worst that was there out of anybody, the most well-known of victims, survivors. And you guys are saying that Trump is on that list. So how come the literal victim / survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, how come she said Trump was never involved? And here, the last paragraph of this article, it states that Bill Clinton, a Democrat, was once one of Epstein's most famous former friends. That painting in Hillary's blue dress hanging up in his home. And then there was a painting of George Bush, too. Remember that? but there's no paintings of Trump. Gee, wonder why that is. Anyways, it goes on to say that Trump was also a friend of the former financier. Both men have said they knew nothing of Epstein's crimes until he was charged. And Epstein's accusers have not alleged any wrongdoings by Trump or Clinton. Still, I say that painting is worth 1,000 words. But hey, that's just me. And that is just the latest on the Epstein file saga. Follow me for more, and anything and everything I said here is just for entertainment purposes only.